body na gently. Mr. Coco and the rhyme so sickness na motor money enemy, na motor money enemy. So if you get sick, do ya know either more? Make you doctor, cause now well body better pass the body. This life now.
So now we're talking about hepatitis. Hepatitis basically what it mean na inflammation na the liver. Na that word the hepatitis mean. Most of the time hepatitis, the way they cause na infection from a virus. And then we'll get different virus than way they cause what we call viral hepatitis. And some of you now go down hear from some of the hepatitis A, hepatitis B, hepatitis C, hepatitis D, hepatitis E. 5 types of viral hepatitis. Other things that we can cause hepatitis will include alcohol for the drink too much rum, diet and too much fat, now your body can cause a type of hepatitis. Some kind sick the way people that can born with twin genetic way can cause hepatitis. The what we call autoimmune, where this is something happen where your body they attack the liver. Your own body now self-defeats the liver. I call that the autoimmune hepatitis. So then now other less common one day. The one where they can focus on right now the viral hepatitis then. So I don't want to say 5 type A to E of hepatitis. But then 5 type then the 2 most common one then where they cause sickness and where they kill people then are hepatitis B and hepatitis C. Now then they cause 95% of the sick then from viral hepatitis. How you they get then 2 type of hepatitis? Well, you get through contact with body fluid. So waiting our body fluid, so body fluid then are like spit, now like sperm, now like blood, in some cases yeah water. So any water or liquid where your body they make can get a potential for spread hepatitis if the person gets hepatitis. So some of big one then include blood transfusion because they take blood from one person to the other. If that blood they not test them properly and check them for make sure they clean. Now one way that there will be people that can get hepatitis. Then you get the one the way they inject with needle, like the one the way they do drugs, where they inject drug then at the system, where they shape needle. So one person inject, then that person get hepatitis, they give you a needle or you take a needle that you inject, then now you self don't transfer the hepatitis. Even then tattoo then can people that can get hepatitis through tattoo. If you go in a place where they go do tattoo, where the needle where they use for the tattoo, they use them by somebody, they not clean them, they not use new needle, and in Africa, even injection, they medication injection, they where some people and they know they use new needle. Every injection they need for be a brand new needle. So down the way they go now, then corner clinic, then pepper doctor, then where they go give the injection, then where they not use new needle. And for instance, a needle where they don't use by somebody else, they take and they can't use them by you. You can get hepatitis through that way. So that not people they need for no, but then they. Then other practice the way we they do, waking people then pattern ceremony then where they cut they cut down they use the same thing for cut you, then they cut other person. Or where then cut you, that you blood they mix with somebody else. Now another way than the way you can spread hepatitis if one part then people and they get them. Then also through sex. So you sleep with somebody, if the person get hepatitis, you sleep with her, you self can get hepatitis that way. Most of the time where people that can get hepatitis B and C, they're not keen for say they don't get them. They might not get any symptom. If they get maybe mild symptom, they wait on like na cold or they want condom with fresh cold or something like that, or the body just not feel good for a little bit. Well, Bokutin and the way can cause that. So most people they not even notice that day. So they're not keen no for say they get hepatitis unless you get tested. Then specifically for that day, then you find out. Or the other way where people then liver don't begin they fail because of the hepatitis. Usually in the trend and the way people then can for say then get this problem. The other type of hepatitis, hepatitis D, in not very common, and usually we only see in people that will already get chronic hepatitis B. Okay, They get hepatitis A and hepatitis E. Then too, then they not through food and water, now you can get them. So contaminated food and water. So if somebody, especially hepatitis A, we very common, especially in our then third world country. Then we poor our country. Then we people in the toilets now the water side, the toilets now gutter, the toilets now then river, then the piece, now behind them us then. That piece, that toilet, they go inside drinking water. Outside people, they get the water for drink or the water for cook. And, the person, then you drink that water the way contaminated, then some people, they can get hepatitis A and even hepatitis E. Hepatitis E, now more of a problem than belly woman. The belly woman then get hepatitis E can actually, cause them for die. Hepatitis A can cause them outbreak then. Where area the drinking water become contaminated, you see beaucoup people and they get sick with that, they cause them rumbele and type sick then with jaundice. So we'll talk about some then symptoms then a little bit later. So hepatitis B and hepatitis C now the two most common cause of what we call liver cirrhosis and liver cancer. Liver cirrhosis basically means that your liver don't rotten. It don't bad say it don't rotten. And then it don't scar, then liver cancer, where can kill people, then hepatitis B and hepatitis C are the two most common reasons then for that day. Hepatitis B is a big problem na salon. Big problem na salon. We think say at least 8% of people in a salon get hepatitis B and then probably not even know that day. Me can guess probably even more because some of them statistics here, so they can try for do small study then for figure out. But beaucoup people they know they go get tested. So beaucoup people then they see the eye they yellow, they so they feel say na malaria gets na make me eye yellow. But sometimes that eye yellow they to malaria, sometimes hepatitis now you get. And woman then we don't born where they suckle, we get hepatitis, they can pass that hepatitis to the pikin or belly woman can pass that hepatitis to the pikin in belly, then the pikin can be born with hepatitis. So this is just some of for show how serious this problem also can be. Inside we country. In around the world, over 300 million people then they get hepatitis. 10 times more people they get hepatitis than they get HIV. People like afraid about HIV, and all them work for HIV. But 10 times more people then get hepatitis B and C than get HIV. And over 3,000 people then they die from liver problem because of hepatitis every day. So this is not really serious people. Inside Africa, we think about 60 million people then get hepatitis B and hepatitis C. But this was all bad news. So it sounds like horrible thing. But the good news is you can actually prevent hepatitis B. You can totally prevent yourself from not ever get hepatitis B. He said, Dr. Sorry, how you gonna do that day? Vaccine. We get excellent vaccine for hepatitis B. They give that vaccine in a series of 3 shots then over about a 6-month period. It prevents you from where you ever get hepatitis B. Inside the Western country then, every pikin they get hepatitis from where them born then, part of them, all them boku maculates where they give now hepatitis B maculates. You give the pikin hepatitis B maculates, you don't protect them for the rest of in life. For against hepatitis B. And we would work in healthcare. One of the things the way that they require now for check for make sure say we protected against hepatitis B because when they deal with sick people then would they can handle them body fluids then. So a very effective. If you know they're not healthcare now then Western world then likely they don't make you take that vaccine day, that maculates day. But for the rest of you, ask your doctor. If you can get hepatitis B, but they can check for see if you get hepatitis B. If you not get hepatitis B and you not get any protection from her, then you can get maculates for preventer. Waiting at the other good news. So hepatitis C will not get maculates for hepatitis C. Very difficult for me they make maculates for hepatitis C. They don't try, but the virus is different from hepatitis B. So we'll not get maculates for that day, but we get excellent medication then we can actually cure hepatitis C where 50 years ago we not able for talk about that, and we get hepatitis C, they so well, not know they for do. But nowadays they get excellent medication in as little as 3 to 6 months, depending on the treatment. They can don't, they treat you, you take the medicine, na pill then, na tablet then. First then they get bad treatment, they will injection the way people they know they do well with. Now you get tablets then, easy for take 3 to 6 months, you don't cure from your hepatitis C. The bad news is, like Boku sick in Africa, people they know they pay attention, governments they know they put enough funding for make sure say people are able for tests and then get access to treatment or get access to the markets there. So then for una way, they pay attention to that, they something for talk about and something for advocate about. Okay, so we don't talk about the different type. Might just go summarize but the different type then, and then we can move on to the next thing. So 5 types of viral hepatitis. Hepatitis A, you they get through contaminated food and water. Hepatitis A also vaccine day for hepatitis A, right? So vaccine day we can prevent hepatitis A. Again, I don't Western country they get into picking there in case they ever travel to country where hepatitis A na problem. So it protect you. But who of we born na then third world country that we don't get hepatitis A, we body now immune to them. So they can check down the pan blood test. So that's hepatitis A. Hepatitis A, it can cause, if you get a bad case of it can cause serious liver problem then, but usually not they cause chronic problem in your body. And of course you can prevent them, but make sure say they drink clean water and make sure say the food where you cook with it clean. And forget people that may not the piss and toilets now side and way go contaminate the drinking water. So that's A. Hepatitis B, you can get Bella woman can pass on to him picking, you can get them through blood, you can get them through body fluids, you can get them through sex with somebody who get hepatitis B. Market today for hepatitis B, we can prevent treatment then we can treat hepatitis B very well and get rid of an your body. If hepatitis B they're not treated, it can cause chronic problems with your liver and end up for cause liver cancer. Hepatitis C also now one way they can pass, the mommy can pass on to the pikin where it born. If it gets the infection, you can get them through blood, you can get them through sex and body fluids then. We will not get market for hepatitis C, but we get very, very good treatment for hepatitis C. Again, hepatitis C, if you're not treated, it will cause chronic liver problem and it can end up with liver cancer. Hepatitis D, less common. Also, if with a C down there in people that will get hepatitis B. So if you prevent hepatitis B, you don't prevent hepatitis D. Then 2, they go together. Hepatitis E, another, uncommon one, area instead through food and water, just like hepatitis A, you can get instead now usually Bella woman then can get problem with dandy. So that's a summary of the different viral hepatitis. If you get question then una can send to question then on our Facebook page, on Twitter, on Instagram, or even email we na wellbodysalon@gmail.com. Again, this is Dr. Mafude Aswari. Thank you for waiting to watch the video. Stay tuned for our next video.